What is up, YouTube? Remington James back once again with another Q&A video. Most likely, if you're watching this, I am on vacation right now, enjoying some much needed R&R time, so I filmed a lot of these in advance. That way I wouldn't have to worry too much about making and creating content while I was on vacation. This will probably be, I'm not sure exactly when you're gonna watch this, but we'll be around 110-ish videos in a row in 110 days. So I haven't broke the streak yet, and I plan on keeping this thing going. But as always, guys, if you want to get on these questions and answers videos, you got to go to my Facebook page, Remington James, and be on the lookout for my post where I ask once a week for your questions, and I come on in a video and answer them. You get a chance at a shout out and possibly some knowledge. So you guys are ready to get this show started? Then I'm ready to answer your questions. Let's do it! Alright guys, first question is from Joe Sticks. He asks, would it be best for a former morbidly obese person to just do a slow recomposition versus bulking once they hit their goal weight? He goes on to say he's lost over 107 pounds and he's scared to bulk because he might put on fat. So here's my opinion on that right now. Everybody's gonna have a different opinion on this. Personally, I think that recomping, although it can be an effective strategy, you ultimately leave some of your gains on the table. If you're gonna bulk, you need to be all in on that bulk. Now, the fact that you are formerly morbidly obese, that is a mouthful, formerly morbidly, the ease of you gaining fat back is higher than just your normal person that's never been that fat. Once you have been overweight and you drop that weight, those fat cells never disappear. They're always there. They just shrink when you lose that weight, which in turn your body is much more likely to bounce back and gain fat. Now, it's not that like since you've been fat that no matter what you eat is gonna go straight into fat. It's still calories in versus calories out. There's still 3,500 calories to a pound, and if you're not overeating and you're following a macro plan, you're not gonna rebound a bunch of weight and get all sloppy. My recommendation is that if you're currently cutting, I'm not sure what your stats are, what your weight is, whatever, if you're currently cutting, what you need to do is drop down to, like you said in your question, 10% body fat, right? Drop down to there and then slowly bulk out of it. The whole recomping thing, in my opinion, can be effective, but a lot of times I think you're kind of extending a process that doesn't need to be extended. I'm a firm believer in cutting and bulking. The whole recomping thing, like I said, it can be effective in some circumstances. Like let's say you just came off a cut and you kind of want to maintain where you're at while putting on a little bit of muscle, and you plan on maybe going to the beach in like 3 or 4 weeks, but you don't want to just stay shredded that whole time. You want to make sure you're still making gains, then a recomp's beneficial. But as far as straight up like building muscle and then revealing it, cut and then bulk. So even though you've been obese before, I would still recommend doing a standard bulk. Just make sure it's a controlled bulk. The last thing you want to do is start a dirty bulk. That's when your body really can start adding that fat back, especially because you are probably suffered from insulin sensitivity issues in the past and insulin resistance, which means that if you start throwing sugar at yourself again, your body will most likely store that as fat more so than someone that's never been overweight before. But in the end, it's going to come down to, like I said, your overall macros. So I suggest getting your goal weight and then slowly doing a lean bulk out of that, tracking and calculating everything. Thank you, by the way, Joe. And he also has a YouTube channel, and that is Fat Boy Fitness Journey Vlogs with a PH as the fat. Get it? PH fat, pretty hot and tempting. That's some middle school memories right there. Okay, thank you, Joe, so much for all your support, man. Next question from Austin Kettler. He asks, how long after eating should I wait to take a pre-workout, or does food even affect it? Now that's, I don't want to say it's a hard question to answer because everybody's a little different, but personally for me, if I eat food right away and then I throw pre-workout on top of it, I'm not really gonna feel that pre-workout because that food's already in there digesting, that pre-workout's just gonna sit on top of it, and your rate of absorption is gonna be much less than if you just took the pre-workout. What I recommend is that if you eat, I'd probably wait at least 30 minutes to an hour before you did it, but obviously everybody's schedule is different. I would never like hold my schedule off an hour just to wait on that pre-workout, but I would probably just try to reschedule my meal around it if you're trying to get the maximum benefit from your pre-workout. But in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. If your schedule dictates that you have to be in and out of the gym in an hour and you have to cut your workout off 30 minutes just to feel the pre-workout, you know what I mean? You gotta weigh your priorities right there. So I would say that's a best case scenario, and putting your best foot forward is gonna be taking it on an empty stomach, or at least waiting like an hour or so. But if you have to stack the two, it is what it is. You probably won't feel it as much, but it's not like you're gonna lose gains. So thank you, Austin, by the way, and keep it up on the program, man. You are killing it right now. It's one of my clients, by the way. Shout out to Austin Kettler. Thank you, man. Now, my next question is from Michael Clinkingbeard. He asks, will 0-calorie flavored sparkling water break my fast? I bought some Kroger Black Cherry caffeine-free sparkling water. I've actually had that. It's pretty good. I want to know if it's something I can drink when I wake up or if I should stick with plain water. Thanks, Remington. Okay. So here's the thing, I've been fasting for a very long time, right? And there's tons of contradictory evidence out there. Some studies say artificial sweeteners will break your fast. Some studies say branched chain aminos break your fast. And personally, guys, I'm just gonna speak on what works for me. I mean, as far as scientific studies, I've seen them go both ways, right? I think a lot of it comes down to the individual. Now, I would say, in just my personal opinion, that if you've struggled with insulin issues before, like you've been formerly overweight by a decent amount, and your body has a reduced response to carbohydrates, then I would say that maybe artificial sweeteners will affect you more because it's gonna spike your insulin levels higher than it would be someone maybe like me that's never really been truly, really overweight, right? Now, I can tell when I'm fasted and when I'm not fasted. My body feels it, right? When I'm fasted, I seem to be high energy, I'm focused, I'm dialed in, I have razor sharp like intensity when I'm at work. As soon as that fast breaks, I can tell that that's blunted, right? And I can tell that kind of, the focus kind of goes away. So I've drank energy drinks, which are loaded with artificial sweeteners. I'm talking 0-calorie ones like Monsters. I've had the spikes before. I do branched chain aminos every single morning. And honestly, I went like a week not too long ago where I didn't really have any of that stuff in the morning to see if I could tell the difference. And honestly, I don't notice a difference. So just speaking from me personally, 0-calorie stuff has never ever broken my fast before, at least that I can tell. I still get the benefits from it. I still stay pretty lean. Boom, how many people do you know can eat 10 Big Macs, 5 Chipotle burritos, and not have their weight go crazy out of control? And I think a lot of that has to do with fasting and also my branched chain amino supplementation. So like I said, if you're gonna drink anything in the morning, I would recommend getting branched chains in there somewhere along the lines just to make sure you're getting the maximum benefit of fasting. Yeah, 0-calorie flavored water, anything 0-calorie isn't gonna hurt you. And from what I've read in some studies, you can have around 50 calories before your fast is technically broken. So I used to do my green superfood powder in the mornings as well as my fat burner, and those two were both below 50 calories. Like I said, I never felt like my fast was broken. So 0-calorie is good all day, Michael. Thank you for that question, man. I really like that one. All right, guys, and this question's from James Bedell, and he asks, hey, Remington, what's your opinion on tilapia fish? Okay, I assume he's talking about all the I don't want to say rumors, all the news stories we've been seeing about tilapia and stuff. If you've been paying attention to the news or anything to do with tilapia, the thing with tilapia is it's one of the most popular fish that is consumed in the entire world. So the vast majority of tilapia you're gonna buy at the store is farm raised, and the way they raise these fish in captivity is absolutely disgusting. If you watch any documentary on it, it's terrible. They put all these fish in these giant holding containers, and there's literally not even enough room for them to swim. They're just like a big mass floating on top of each other, and they're just in their feces and they're regurgitating it all, and then they're chocked full of chemicals, and it's just a very nasty environment. So tilapia in general, if you're eating farm-raised tilapia, it is very inflammatory, so it can cause all sorts of issues you don't even think about. And that's one thing that people don't talk about when it comes to diets, is the inflammatory response some foods will have on your system. So you can eat certain things and not even realize that you're getting specific side effects from it. Being inflamed is a weird feeling. It can cause you to be bloated, it can cause you to have headaches, and all sorts of weird stuff you might not attribute to the food you're eating. But I try to cut out as many inflammatory foods as possible, stuff like vegetable oil and tilapia and stuff like that. So personally, I used to be a big tilapia eater, but I cut it out completely, and now if I'm gonna eat a white fish, I specifically go for wild caught cod, because it doesn't have quite the same inflammatory response, but it's got about the exact same macros, close to 0 fat, and a very high quality, high protein source. So in my opinion, skip the tilapia and get yourself some cod. I think it tastes better personally, less fishy tasting, and you're not getting any of that BS. So even if you don't get affected by inflammation, right, I still think it's the humane thing to do to not go with farm-raised tilapia, in my opinion. So thank you, James, for your question. All right, next question is from Rob Whedon. Thank you for all your support, by the way, man. He asks, if you had a chance to go on the first rocket to Mars and live there, would you? And if so, who would you take? Female? Question mark? Okay, the first people to go to Mars. No, absolutely not. I like where I'm at. Here on Earth, I would not go to Mars at all. You might wonder why. Why would you not go to Mars, Remington? Well, let me tell you guys, there is nothing on Mars. I don't know if you guys have seen the Joe Rogan stand-up. It's on Netflix. It's really funny. He said he had a buddy, I think, that wanted to go to Mars, and he's like, oh, you want to go to Mars? Huh? He drove him out in the middle of the desert, and he goes, drops him off. He says, is this fun? Is this fun? Okay, man, because Mars sucks more. There's nothing on Mars, and I don't really even know if the right question is, do you want to be amongst the first people to go to Mars, as much as that question is, do you want to be amongst the first people to die die on Mars. Because what are you gonna do once you get there? I mean, you're not gonna, there's just no future there, guys. As much as I think as a species, we need to have intergalactic travel to survive because this planet we're on is not gonna last forever. Some of you might have weird views on this whole thing, but if we're talking statistically and scientifically, this world is not gonna last forever. And in order for us to stay relevant as a species and to expand, we have to have intergalactic travel. We have to be able to go to different planets. We have to be able to populate those planets. I'd be down for it maybe in the future if that was a viable option, but I doubt that there's high-speed internet. I doubt that I'll be able to upload YouTube videos, and I don't think there's any gyms on Mars, so I'm gonna have to pass on that, man. Thank you, though, for your question. All right, and then I have to answer this question from Jackie Watkins. This is a guy, by the way. Last time I called Jackie a female, and I messed up, so I'm giving him another question for that. He asks, will you be going to the Mr. Olympia Expo this year in September? I'm a guy, in parentheses, LOL, I had to give you crap. Thanks for the awesome videos. Keep that streak alive. I plan on it, man. I plan on it. You know what, Mr. Olympia Expo this year, I really think I'm going to. I kind of wanted to go last year, but I wasn't in a position like I am right now to go. I was still working my other job, and now that I do this full time, that is totally something I could do. And I really think I will this year. You know, I have a lot of people telling me or asking me if I'm going and want to know if I go, and I think I should go. If you would like to see me go to the Olympia Expo and potentially watch vlog footage of it, or if you are located in the Vegas area and you'd like to meet up, comment below right now and I will tally it up, and then if I get a good enough response, we will go. Thanks for your question, man, and I apologize for the whole gender thing, right? I apologize, man. Honest mistake. I mean, Jackie. Who names their boy Jackie? I'm kidding, man. Who names their kid Remington, right? Right? Thank you. All right, guys, final question, and this is gonna come from Lin Bing Hang. I answered this question last time, but dude's Chinese? Yeah, he's Chinese. Or in Chinese, I'm a Taiwanese student. Okay, not really sure how all this works right here, but I appreciate your question, man. He actually put how to pronounce his name below. So Lin Bang Hang, we're going with that. Thank you for your question, man. And he asks, if I go on a cut, if I lower my carb intake, should I eat more fat? And also, which Chinese food do you like the best? Okay, if you're going on a cut and you're lowering your carb intake as you eat more fat, that ultimately depends on what your goal is, right? In the end, I always talk about this, but fat, protein, and carbs add up to calories. And it's all about your total daily energy expenditure. So me, for example, it takes me probably 2,700 calories a day to stay the exact same weight. If I'm gonna cut, I drop calories from that. If I wanna bulk, I add calories to that, and vice versa. Well, let's say, for example, you've been eating at your total daily energy expenditure, which is about 2,300 calories. Well, it's just for example, right? So you have 2,300 calories. The logical move to cut straight from there is whatever your macros are. Let's say you're eating 200 grams of carbs a day, 300 grams of carbs a day, whatever. You would subtract from your carbohydrates first, leaving fat and your protein the same. So yes, you wouldn't want to adjust your fat at all because you're simply removing calories at that point. If you remove 100 grams of carbs, you're removing 400 calories. So it takes your 2,300, I think that's what I said, down to 1,900 calories, right? So you're obviously cutting. Now, if you cut those carbs and then you raise your fat back up, and let's say you add in, I don't know, let's say 30 grams of fat, right? And then you drop those 100 grams of carbs. That's really gonna put you at about the same calorie level. So in turn, your cut isn't really a cut anymore. Your calories are the same. You're just on a low carb diet. So you gotta watch your overall calories. That's what matters most, while still maintaining your macronutrient goals, right? Hitting at least 1.2 to 1.5 times your body weight in grams of protein, having at least, I usually recommend around 50 grams of fat or more. Don't wanna go too low fat or you'll start shutting down essential processes. Carbohydrates are the least needed of the macronutrients. So hopefully this is making sense. I'm trying to explain it in layman's terms in the best way possible. But basically, watch your overall calorie intake, subtract your carbs, keep your fat above 50, and go from there. Don't balance the two out or else you'll kind of end up in the exact same spot. Calories stay the same and you'll just sit there spinning your wheels. So hopefully that makes sense. And then the final part of your question, what is my favorite Chinese food? I am a huge fan of the teriyaki chicken on a stick things. I love those. Those are absolutely incredible. Those big beef sticks, like a skewer, there's like a piece of meat on it and it's like, not sure what kind of meat it is, but it's extremely good. Those mixed with sweet and sour chicken. I love sweet and sour chicken, but not necessarily the sauce, just kind of like the breaded chicken. I get those two, maybe some chicken fried rice, and just go to town. That is, man, I need a Chinese food eating challenge to come here soon, man. It's been forever since I've had Chinese, so comment below if you want to see a Chinese food eating challenge. Anyways, guys, that is gonna wrap up this Q&A video. Thank you so much, as always, for your participation. As always, thank you for your support. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and as always, don't forget to smile, remain positive, and pay someone a compliment because you never know whose day you could be making better. With that, I am out of here. This has been a Remington James production, and I will see you guys at the next video. See you guys.